Yesterday, the President of the United States invited rank-and-file Democrats to come down, have lunch with him. They all declined. They were under pressure from Nancy Pelosi and company, the leadership, not to show up. Didn't want them to be just used as props or a photo op, they said. Today, they're going to have the problem solvers at the White House. Speaking of the White House, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, White House press secretary, joins us from the North Lawn. And Sarah and I have something in common, and that is that we are both big fans of the Kansas City Chiefs, who currently are 3-point favorites over the Patriots for this weekend.
It's a very happy time at my house, Steve. We're cheering hard for the Chiefs, and my husband's from Kansas City, so as he likes to say, this is the first time in his lifetime that they have been this close to the Super Bowl. So it's a happy time. Hopefully, it'll stay that way through the weekend.
Yeah, playing at home will be key. Meanwhile, as the president focuses, he mentioned this a few days ago. There's another caravan forming. It's formed. There were 500 2 days ago. Now it's up to over 2,000, perhaps, as they get closer to our border. Of course, Mexico, that's the longest journey. They're not getting the message that very few people are getting through. Sarah, how does this figure into the president's mindset, and does it help him sell his side of the story?
This is just another example of why the president's message has been right all along. We have a crisis at the border, both a national security and a humanitarian crisis. Democrats have got to stop ignoring the problem, sit down with the president at the table, and help us come to a solution. The president has a proposal on the table. It's now time for Democrats to work with us and fix this problem. So far, they've been unwilling to do so at the hands of their leadership in Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. The president's got a meeting today. Maybe some of these individuals can help start forming a solution. But so far, Democrats have been unwilling to negotiate. And this is just a further example of why it's so important that they do.
Yeah, what needs to be done to solve this problem and to open up the government?
I mean, Democrats have to be willing to do something. So far, they've been willing to do nothing but obstruct, and that's not going to fix the problem. That's not going to open the government. They claim to care about federal workers, but they've been so busy hanging out on the beaches of Puerto Rico and hitting Broadway shows. Frankly, they don't have time to sit down with the president. There were no shows yesterday. Hopefully, this meeting today can be somewhat different. But at the same time, they've shown us that they are unwilling to negotiate in good faith. The president asked Nancy Pelosi directly if she keeps claiming that you have to open the government before we can negotiate, and he asked her point blank, if I open the government, will you work with me and give me border security funding, including the wall? And she said no. Nancy Pelosi has been unwilling to do anything, and that's simply not going to work, and it's not going to fix the problem. And she's got to get serious about doing her job and not just be serious about being a political figure. And hopefully we'll see something break on that soon.
Right. Well, a number of freshman congressmen we have read are breaking with Nancy Pelosi, and they're saying, hey, we're willing to discuss and negotiate, and some, in fact, are speaking with the Republicans directly. But Sarah, I know that 50,000 federal employees who have been furloughed have been called back to help with tax returns and various inspections, air safety, things like that. But there's a problem, and that is because when you're a federal employee, you cannot check your email. So it's hard to email the person, come back to work. So how are you going to get them back to work? Any idea?
Look, I'll leave that to people that are far smarter on technology to figure that out than I am. But one thing we know is that the president is committed to making sure that government still functions, even if we have to do so with a fewer number of people. Certainly, we do not want the government to remain closed, which is why we've asked Democrats to sit down and help us solve this problem. We can't continue kicking this down the road. We can't continue to ignore it. We know that there is a crisis at the border. American lives are at stake, and the president wants to do what his constitutional duty is to protect those. And I find it just appalling that Democrats are unwilling to do anything to fix this problem, work with the president, and open the government.
So I was speaking with Senator Chris Coons, who was speaking with Senator Lindsey Graham, and they want to put something forward maybe as early as today that maybe the president might be interested in. But the word is there's people in the White House that are pushing the president not to budge. And it's the same people, perhaps, that told him to walk away from the $20 billion for the wall in exchange for a pathway to citizenship for DACA. What can you tell us about that, Sarah?
Look, we'll see what the members of the Senate, if they have a proposal and they put it on the table, something, certainly we will consider that. But at the same time, the biggest and the fundamental thing that the president has been 100% clear on is we have to have what the people at the border, the Customs and Border Patrol agents have told us they need. It's not what they want, Steve and Brian, it's what they have said that they need in order to protect our borders. When we were down there just a week ago with the president, the head of that area told us that 41 people had come across from different countries, 41 different countries in the time span of a week. That is a problem. We don't know who these people are, why they're coming, what they're coming here for. There has to be a system that works properly, and we have to give these men and women the tools they need to do their jobs, and Congress has to be willing to work with us to do that. The president is not going to back down from that because it's a fundamental duty that he has as the president of the United States is to protect the people in this country. Look, the president will negotiate, but at this point, he's not going to negotiate with himself. He's the only one that has a proposal on the table. Democrats have yet to put anything forward other than obstruction, and they have to put something on the table. They have to at least sit down and be willing to have a conversation, and so far, they've been unwilling to do anything. The president's proposal has actual things that Democrats specifically asked for. They asked for more technology at ports of entry. They asked for a processing center, asylum processing center for people from Central America. Right. They asked that the wall not be concrete but be steel barriers. The president has given and put these specific requests of Democrats into his proposal that he laid out for them. It's time for them to come to the table and work with us.
All right, Sarah Huckabee Sanders from a snowy North Lawn. Go Chiefs. Thank you very much for joining us live.
Thanks for being with us. The vote on Theresa May's Brexit plan rejected by UK's Parliament. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott is live in London with this breaking news to explain what this means. What should we watch for? Greg.
Dana, huge. It just came down a couple of minutes ago, actually faster than we thought. Theresa May, UK Prime Minister, and her deal to get Britain out of the European Union, that is Brexit, has failed and failed massively. Out of about 650 seats, that is the total of the members of Parliament in the House of Commons. 202 voted in favor of this deal. 432 voted against. That means a loss margin of 230. What does this mean? It's even bigger than Sky News, our sister network, and others had predicted. It means it's back to the drawing board a bit for Theresa May. She has said in comments that just happened after this vote that she will look for a cross-party, that is, between the Conservatives and the Labour members, also the Liberal Democrats, to come up with a deal that might go forward. But, Dana, we're on a really tight deadline. Less than 2 months to go before they have to decide on how they leave exit. And just to remind our viewers, they've been working on this thing for 2.5 years. Back in 2016, there was a referendum that narrowly voted, the British people narrowly voted in favor of leaving the European Union, 52% to 48%. But it's a tough task, as was proven, and they just haven't been able to come up with a plan that satisfies everybody. Even the anti-EU and the pro-EU folks on both sides have not been happy with this deal. So very quickly, what are we looking for now? We're looking for Theresa May to try to figure out what to do. The opposition members, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has got to be licking his chops right now, looking forward to what could be coming up next. He wants a general election. He wants May out and a whole new election. Other people want a new referendum on this choice. Now that they know, according to the people who want this referendum, all the details, they want the UK people to vote again on this, and that's got a lot of opposition going for it too. There are thoughts of another kind of deal and kind of a worst-case scenario, not just for the UK, but maybe for its important global trading partners and security partners, and that's number one, probably the United States, a no deal, a crash out on March 29th that no one knows exactly what will happen. Certainly it'll have big impacts on the economy, maybe some impacts on security too. So now into the darkness right now. Breaking news in the last about 12 minutes or so. Dana, we are sorting it out here, but a big surprise, a big shocker, a historic defeat for UK Prime Minister Theresa May. And now we figure out again how this very important, maybe one of our most important security and economic partners goes forward with their history. Dana.
Greg, let me ask you, how quickly might you see something happen with the leadership of the UK? Is the next logical step a vote of no confidence for Theresa May, or was basically the Brexit vote, that was the vote of no confidence?
Well, that's a major vote of no confidence when you had that kind of a loss margin. Absolutely. Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the opposition Labour Party, who has no love for Theresa May, is already organizing a vote of no confidence against her. The thing is, though, Dana, a lot of people don't like Jeremy Corbyn either, or they don't want Labour in charge. So even the Tory members, that is the Conservative members of Parliament who voted against this deal, and there were a lot of them, I don't have an exact number, but well over 100 members of her own party voted against it. They probably won't go for another general election, which could very well mean that Labour Party would take control. So, in fact, there could be a vote of no confidence very soon. Would May survive that? Probably. But I got to tell you, Dana, I mean, people have said that any prime minister in the past who got walloped on her major policy issue. Remember, she's been working on this again for a very long time. The last couple of years, walloped in this way, well, she'd face an internal fight and have to step down. So there are questions about her future. But again, what she has said, what she has underscored is that there is this deadline, March 29, to get this all wrapped up. That's, again, about 2 years after they started work on this, more than 2.5 years since the referendum. So they're looking to that. The one other thing, there's always, as you know, and you know well, and so do our viewers, Dana, know politics well, you can always mess around with deadlines. And there is talk about extending that March deadline into June or July to give the folks a breathing room. But right now, there are a lot of shocked people here in London. And again, very important for the U.S. President Trump has said he didn't like this deal, so he actually probably will be pleased. We might see a tweet soon saying that he would have voted the same way that, what's the number again? 432 members of Parliament went. He didn't think it broke the U.K. away from the EU enough. But a lot of experts in Washington also are sure that chaos in our key ally in the U.K., not a good thing. Dana.
All right, Greg Palcott, we thank you for that.